Call the meeting to order. I just want to let public to know, board member Dr. Chris Apodaca will be attending the board meeting online tonight due to a work obligation. Daniel, please, roll call.
President Say,
Present?
Vice President Yu, Clerk Nishi, Board Member Dr. Apodaca,
Here.
Board Member Mr. Beach,
Present.
Board Member Dr. Eugenio,
Here.
Board Member Dr. Rios. Here. Thank you.
Thank you, Danielle. This evening, we'll be discussing the following item in closed section. Conference with labor negotiator, update on negotiations with ABCFT, AFSCME, CSEA, and existing litigation, 2 matters. Clerk, Ms. Nishi, do we have any public comment on the closed section item?
No, we don't, Madam President.
Thank you. We're going to move to closed section. May I have a motion and second?
So moved. Beach?
Thank you. And all in favor, please say aye.
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 Thank you. Now we're back to the
She's ready.
I have a motion a second for board back in the open section.
So moved, Beach.
Thank you. All in favor, please say aye.
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 We welcome public comment. Comments submitted will be presenting during the public comment each section, which is limited to 1 hour, and each speaker to one presentation of 5 minutes unless the board wishes to waive the time limit. Those who have a group of concern are encouraged to select a spokesperson to address the board. Comments submitted regarding the specific agenda item will be presented following the staff comments and prior to board discussion and take actions. Closed section report out. Tonight in closed section and board discussion, conference with labor negotiator, update on negotiations with ABCFT, AFSCME, CSEA, and existing litigation 2 matters. Now I'm going to ask our board member, Mr. Beach, for today's Pledge of Allegiance, please.
Please
Thank you.
rise. Join us in the Pledge of Allegiance. Ready, begin.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, Mr. Beach.
Thank you.
Well, next one is our presentation today, Spotlight on Teaching and Learning, and we'll have our communication quarterly update. And Mr. Smith, are you ready? I'm so glad you're here today. I mean, you're always here in the meeting, but I'm so glad you'll be doing the presentation regarding our community. Thank you. And
Thank you.
Scott, Mr. Smith is our communication officer.
Thank you very much, President Say. Good evening, board members, Dr. Sue, Cabinet, and ABC families. Tonight, I'll provide a brief report of last year's communications efforts and share our plans for this year. I don't have to tell any of you how challenging the 2020-2021 school year was. Communicating all the challenges the district was experiencing to our families was crucial. Our goal was to provide valuable and timely information to our district community. To reach this goal, we used a variety of communications methods, modes, and messages. ABCUSD was featured in the news nearly 40 times last year, 35 times in print, and 3 times on television. Our stories were included in some of the most widely known regional and local news outlets, including the Los Angeles Times, Long Beach Press Telegram, and the Los Cerritos Community News. When we welcome back some of our students to school this past spring, both Fox 11 News and NBC4 joined Dr. Sue and Principal Tuesday Stoffers at Tetzloff Middle School. Social media continues to play a growing role in communicating with our families. Our organic growth on Facebook and Instagram was robust over the past year, with both growing well over 20%. Our messages on Twitter averaged over 10,000 impressions a month, and the videos we featured on YouTube reach about 800 viewers on average, with some reaching well over 5,000. Outreach to our families over email played a critical role over the past year. Through the weekly community update, we provided timely updates of important information. Readership of this publication has grown over the past year as our families have learned to expect the community update every Thursday evening. Sharing our stories through video has shown the most growth and potential. Last year, we shared 17 videos covering various stories from our students returning to school in person, car parades at our schools, and messages from Superintendent Dr. Sue. Our video producer, Steven Sopa, has a great eye and skill for shooting video and editing that footage into a fantastic end product. We also focused on internal communications this past year. Our Make It Safe Mondays went out each Monday, surprise, providing relevant and timely COVID-19 safety information. We are looking at more ways to engage our staff members this year. Realizing the challenges all school districts have had with enrollment, we have leaned heavily into marketing the district. Since the spring, we have been advertising on social media and in local print publications to ensure the communities we serve and those interested in attending our district know what we are planning on a traditional in-person school year. As we move into the new school year, we will continue to share the stories that make the ABC Unified School District such an amazing place for kids. We're in the middle of back-to-school marketing campaign, which will transition into a campaign to showcase how our schools will bring back students safely. Our goal is to give families a sense of security as students return to school. We have a great deal of work ahead of us. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Smith. You are the bridge, to connect us with the local community family. And I hope you have some time with your family too. Don't forget, because I know on Facebook, I see you sometimes in the middle of the night, you answer to some of the Facebook, you put some information there. I really appreciate you work very hard for us. Really appreciate the district and my board. Sincerely appreciate your hard work. Do you have anything? Okay, go ahead. Clerk, Mr. Z.
Yes, so you've done some marketing to bring the kids back to school, which is great. You've done some social media, newspaper. I'm just wondering, is there anything, are we doing any direct? Is that how much were the $20,000 being spent in terms of the marketing, or are we doing any direct mail?
We will be sending out a mail piece that will talk about safely bringing our students back and why it's important to bring students back for in-person instruction.
Okay. Do you think it's going to be successful?
Yes,
Thank you.
I do. I think our efforts have been very strong so far. We've had really good engagement on our social media advertising.
Thank you.
Anyone else? Go ahead, Vice President, if you.
Thank you. Thank you, President. I just want to say, I want to thank, Scott Smith for his efforts in getting the messages out, because we've had so many changes. Our district went through a lot. Everybody did, but, people who have to make it happen behind the scene, I know Dr. Valencia is not here, but like her team have to change plans every quarter or something.
Yes.
And now with Delta, we don't know what to expect. People are already feeling the fear. But I think that, you play such a critical role and you came to work at such a critical time. We needed you to get all the word out through the media, social media, newsletter, emails, e-letter. So really want to thank you for all your efforts. And yeah, I'm glad that Dr. Su doesn't have to take the pictures with Tuan anymore, because we have an official
New
photographer.
photographer.
Yeah, thank you very much. And at the graduation, that was amazing. It was like
Yeah.
two Scott Smith. I saw you everywhere at every graduation. So thank you very much.
Every school he goes to there and take pictures. Appreciate it. Okay. No more further. So next one will be approve our agenda today. We have a motion to approve agenda for regular meeting of August 3rd, 2021.
So move.
Second, Sue.
Thank you. Danielle, please roll call.
Dr. Apodaca,
Yes.
Mr. Beach,
Yes.
Dr. Eugenio,
Yes.
Mr. Nishi,
Yes.
Dr. Rios. Mrs. Say,
Yes.
Mrs. Yu. Yes. Motion passes 7-0.
Thank you. May I have a motion to approve the minutes of regular meeting of June 15, 2021.
Second.
Thank you. Danielle, roll call, please.
Dr. Apodaca,
Yes.
Mr. Beach,
Yes.
Dr. Eugenio,
Yes.
Mr. Nishi,
Yes.
Dr. Rios. Mrs. Say,
Yes.
Mrs. Yu. Yes. Motion passes 7-0.
Next one, may I have a motion to approve the minutes of the special meeting of July 8, 2021.
So move.
Second.
Daniel, roll call, please.
Dr. Apodaca,
Yes.
Mr. Beach,
Abstain, please.
Dr. Eugenio,
Abstain wasn't present.
Mr. Nishi,
Yes.
Dr. Rios. Mrs. Say,
Yes.
Mrs. Yu,
Yes.
motion passes 702. I mean 502.
Thank you. Next one is our superintendent report. Dr. Su, please.
Thank you very much, President Tseng. Well, first of all, welcome back, everybody. I hope everyone had some time off during this summer. Ray Gare and I presented at the National Labor Management Collaboration Virtual Symposium on June the 16th. Our topic was on leaning into LMC partnership to reopen our schools during a pandemic. On June the 21st, I participated in the Cerritos Artesia Rotary Club at President Lata Ahir's home located in Artesia. There were a number of elected officials at her home, including Artesia Mayor Renee Trevino, council members Tony Lima, Ali Taj, and former mayor of Cerritos, Naresh Solanki. I also appreciate that we had a number of our own board members, including President Sophia Say, Clerk Ernie Nishii, and Brad Beach, who were amongst our group. On June the 22nd in the morning, I participated with Ray Gear, president of ABCFT, on our presentation at the California Labor Management Institute. They specifically asked us to present district stories regarding our experience with labor management. In the afternoon, I met with Consul General Japan, Muto Akita, regarding our plans to develop a dual language Japanese program at the high school level. On June the 23rd, I attended the Schools to Watch Award celebrating Carmenita Middle School. Later in the afternoon, I also attended the National Forum Schools to Watch Award to see Denise Macias, the principal at FETI, accept the award. At night, I was able to participate in the Seroptimus Artesia Cerritos Club. As a group of leaders are leaving, I was able to say a few words to the incoming group of new leaders and the new council. I'm a judge for the California School Board Association's Golden Bell Award for the past 10 years. I never judge our own applications, but other districts' applications. Each year, I submit over 15 applications to CSBA. On July 7th, I met with Congresswoman Linda Sanchez and her Chief of Staff, Yvette Shahinian. Board member Dr. Chris Apodaca was with us, along with Scott Smith and several other people in her group. I gave a tour of our district office in each division. She presented us a large check of $35 million that have already been factored in our budget. This is part of the CARES Act. I serve on the governing board for AASA, which is the American Association of School Administrators. I flew out to Washington, D.C. on July 11th and returned on July 15th. They combine the governing board members, legislative advocacy groups, and the executive committee members together. As a member of the governing board, they provided me funds to cover my costs for serving on the governing board. On Saturday, July 24th, I participated in the Sajas Youth Showcase. There were approximately 102 participants in the showcase. Although they have only been in place 2 years, they have provided us with incredible vaccine clinics at two of our high schools, Artesia High School and Cerritos High School. We will be glad to honor them at the August 17th board meeting. This morning, I participated in the Independent Study Program from the California Department of Education's webinar. They have already provided me the materials that's been already in place during the seminar. There are approximately 376 participants in our district who would like to sign up for our online independent studies program. When it's more developed, we will share this information with everyone on the board at the August 17th board meeting. And that concludes my report, President Tseng.
Thank you, Dr. Su. Even the summer vacation, you still keep yourself busy, and we really appreciate. For me, I did attend a teacher Rotary Club meeting at one of the teacher residence house. July 4th, attending Cerritos Independent Day. And then I was attending School to Watch in Golden Bell. But one of the things I like to highlight tonight is the last few weeks, Vice President Ms. Yu and I participate at the Nemus Elementary School Nature Wood Garden. It is a great resource for our students, but there are lots need for that area. And I think I shared that with our superintendent too. Hopefully we can come up with some plan to make the better. Over the past few weeks, some parents have reached out to me with concern about back to school safety. I would like to share with the public. As we learn more about virus and variants, guidance shouldn't be static. We have to be prepared to adapt. There will be change. Yesterday, they were saying no mask, but today, yes mask. At district level, we are following county public health guidance and will adapt. Our staff is working on these changes and will come out revised plan to create a safe environment for all. We want you all feel safe to come back, but we need your help. Remember to get vaccinated. We have done a few things to help prevent the spread COVID-19. We partner with the county and other organizations to hold vaccine sites in our schools. We tried to cover the entire district area. We had a vaccine clinic at both Atisha Cerritos High School for adults and children over 12. So far, we have a good supply of masks, and the air filters at school are hospital grade. I have asked the staff to put a sensor touch hand sanitizer machine at entrance each classroom. I hope staff will implement this before the school starts. That's your job, okay, Tuan? You say yes, thank you. I appreciate it. That's my Christmas gift. We really need that because when I do my site visit, I see there's a need everywhere. Thank you. I am concerned some people are saying I got vaccinated, so I am done with this pandemic. The data I'm seeing on the Delta variant with the rise of the case and hospitalization, particularly in some states, in our states too. We need to prepare and adopt the changes. I asked the staff, our staff, district staff, family, and community to work together to keep our students, family, and staff healthy and safe. There was one question say, do you think the new mask guideline will be very effective? The short answer is yes. My best guess is that mask use can reduce some transmission, but without some social distance measures, masks alone might not be able to stem the rising tide of the infection that we see in place like some area. And this is my report for today. Thank you. So next one will be our public comments. Go ahead, Clerk Nishi.
Are there any public comments? Oh, excuse me. I will actually read the public comment section
Thank
so
you.
people know what to do.
Thank
Persons
you.
wishing to address the board should provide public comments during the public comments section via the following method: my abcusd.org board meeting, and use a link or phone number to participate in the Zoom meeting. If using Zoom, please use the raise your hand feature during the public comments portion of the agenda or during the public comments time after agenda item. If using a phone, please use *9 to raise your hand during the public comments portion of the agenda or during the public comments time after agenda item. Then use *6, which is important, to unmute yourself when you're called on to speak. So *6 to unmute yourself. Comments will be presented during the public comment section, which is limited to 1 hour, and each speaker to one presentation of 5 minutes unless the board wishes to waive the time limit. Those who have a group concern are encouraged to select a spokesperson to address the board. Comments submitted regarding a specific agenda item will be presented following the staff comments and prior to the board's discussion and taking action. Adverse comments about a person's race, ancestry, ethnic group identification, religion, color, national origin, sex, sexual orientation, gender, mental or physical disability, or age may not be made. Concerns presented to the board will be followed up and addressed by the appropriate staff. Ms. Smith, is there any public comments?
We do have some public comments tonight. Clerk
Before we
Nishi.
go into the public comment, I apologize to, I forgot to ask, do we have any employee representative for tonight for report? Do we have any? Do you know? I apologize for that.
I don't see any in the panelist room. No.
Thank you. Now back to you. Sorry about it, Mr. Smith.
Not all. The first public comment will be from the Reverend Pamela Elise Davis.
Unmute, please.
Let me get her.
*6.
Reverend Davis, you can talk. Go ahead and
Got
unmute,
it.
Reverend. There we go.
Got it. Good evening, President Say, members of the board, Dr. Sue, and cabinet. My name is Reverend Pamela Davis. My granddaughter is a rising sophomore at Cerritos High. I currently serve as Vice President of Programs for our Cerritos High Education Foundation and previously served 2 years with the PTSA at Tetzlaff Middle School. I would like to speak in support of continuing the program offered by California Conference for Equity and Justice, CCEJ, for our young people as experienced by the students from Whitney and Cerritos High School. For 55 years, CCEJ has worked to transform communities and end discrimination, oppression, and injustice. CCEJ was originally founded in 1927 as the National Conference for Christians and Jews, later known as the National Conference for Community and Justice. From 1981 to 1985, I personally was involved with the National Conference for Christians and Jews. I worked for Southern Christian Leadership Conference, the organization started by Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. I was a part of a program called the Black Jewish Youth Experience during the mayoral tenure of Tom Bradley. During the summer of the 1984 Olympics, we partnered with the National Conference of Christians and Jews, Second Baptist Church, Los Angeles, Dr. Thomas Kilgore Jr. pastor, where I served as youth and young adult minister, and the Wilshire Boulevard Temple, Rabbi Alfred Wolf, to bring together outstanding African American and Jewish high school students throughout Los Angeles, focused on building cultural awareness. We participated in a competitive grant process and were provided grants from the Los Angeles Olympics Organizing Committee to host a 6-week leadership conference and 2 gospel concerts, teaching young people from different backgrounds leadership and project management skills as a part of our multi-year program. My involvement in ministry over the past 40 years has watched CCEJ evolve to what the organization stands for today. Their decades of experience in Southern California provide a unique strength in activating change and helping to solve profound systematic problems. Our students participated in Conscious Classrooms as an in-school program focused on building the awareness, knowledge, and skills students need to promote respect, advocate for social justice, and strengthen the learning environment in classrooms and schools. This program utilizes a common core and California standards aligned critical thinking focused curriculum that immerses students in a variety of human relations topics. Conscious Classrooms provide students with opportunities to learn healthy forms of communication, build community among themselves, and alter school culture in a positive way. The students involved in this program from Cerritos High School benefited greatly and look forward to more students being involved in the future. I would also like to speak briefly regarding critical race theory, which originated in the mid-1970s and emerged as a movement in the 1980s. It is a body of legal scholarship and an academic movement of civil rights scholars and activists in the United States that seeks to critically examine US law as it pertains to social, cultural, and legal issues, primarily as they relate to race and racism in the United States. Critical race theory is taught in collegiate and law school environments and not to K through 12 students. I heard 2 comments, at a previous board meeting about critical race theory that were not accurate. Number 1, a parent stated that critical race theory was a part of the program offered by CCAJ that our students participated in, which is not accurate. And number 2, and if I heard this parent correctly, she also stated that the program being taught by CCEJ was Marxist. Neither of these statements are accurate. I would like to ask the board and leadership of our district to review and, if appropriate, provide accurate information to our families. Thank you for listening. Be blessed. Graciously submitted. I am Reverend Pamela.
Thank you very much, Reverend Davis. The next speaker will be PTA Dad, who I believe is Murali Vasudevan. If you could please state your name and go ahead, and you have 5 minutes, sir.
Can you hear me now?
We can.
Hey, good evening, everyone. I am Murali Vasudevan, an active community member and a proud PTA dad of 2 ABCUSD graduates. I was a board member of Whitney High PTSA and Cerritos High PTSA. Have worked with 33rd District PTA and also with California State PTA. I have seen high-performing PTAs in other school districts and the benefits they bring to their school and their community. I am here to talk about reviving ABC Council PTA, which was dissolved last year after it failed to meet the PTA bylaws. It is evident from their absence in PTA board meetings, which is one of the regular agenda items. So you all must be knowing about the demise of a very important organization in our school district. I am equally disappointed by the lack of interest from ABCUSD board members, superintendent, and other community leaders to help revive this PTA. Why your school needs a PTA? Very good question. There are many types of parent groups out there, as you know, foundations, clubs, you name it. But there is one and only one PTA. PTA has been part of school and family life for more than 115 years. It is the defining organization for family engagement. PTA continues to be the strongest advocate in the state and nation for children and youth. What is in it for schools? What is in it for students? Again, thank you for asking. Please read the brochure I mentioned in the communication you all received, which explains all these things.
3 minutes.
From California PTA. Why is PTA then not getting support among the well-informed, educated ABCUSD community? Lack of awareness and benefits of having a good PTA. Lack of awareness among the board members, superintendent, community leaders, principals, parents, teachers, and students. School leaders and PTA are partners in education. PTA leaders and members often take their cues from superintendent. And it is important that superintendent leads the reviving process. How can we educate on the advantage of PTA and how it can help schools and our community? It must start with ABCUSD board and superintendent. Do all of our schools have a well-functioning PTA? How many schools have PTA board members who are following the PTA bylaws, who are even aware of the bylaws? How many youths have conducted election for upcoming academic year? Which should have happened in May. Did the past PTA board translate into the new board? Did the new board attend the required trainings? And are they ready for the new academic year? You know the answer better than me. It is most of the time it is no. Pandemic is not an excuse to not to have elections in a timely manner, because that's a very good excuse every organization use this year. I invite all 7 board members to help revive PTAs in your trustee areas. Help those know your PTA in your trustee area. Help those with no PTA. Help those who are struggling to get participation from teachers, parents, and students. Help schools to install a good board with capable, passionate, sincere, informed members who are ready to use PTA platform to help schools and their community.
1 minute.
I have worked with PTAs in ABCUSD as a board member of ABC Council PTA in the past and have seen struggles and politics in person. And I'm not surprised at the present condition. It is very disappointing. Not all schools are equally preferred, as shown by the overwhelming demand for schools of choice among ABCUSD residents. Same way, story of PTAs in ABCUSD has been one of haves and have-nots, as shown by the huge disparity in PTA membership. So let us help address this disparity and make them all equally preferable and equally strong. Let us revive ABC Council PTA and help it become a top performer. We need more participation from dads, which has been a challenge from PTAs across the nation. I would like to invite all dads, uncles, and grandpas watching from sidelines to join PTA and provide leadership. Feel free to reach out to me if you need any help or would like to discuss more. I would like to end this with a quote from Pablo Picasso. Others have seen what is and asked why. I have seen what could be and asked why not. Why not we make ABC Council PTA alive again, bring it back from its deathbed and make it one of the top performers. We can do it. Thank you all for listening and your support.
Thank you. That concludes the public comments.
Thank you, Mr. Nishi, and thank you, Mr. Smith. My motion to approve the consent calendar.
So move, Sue.
Thank you. Is there anyone who wishes to remove any item to the consider separation here? Okay. Is this an information item? Is a clarification or?
Just clarification questions, 3.3 and 4.9.
Thank you, sir. Okay, go ahead.
Anybody else? Don't.
Anyone else? Do we have any?
I just wanted to comment.
So we have, I'll make the comments you have. Okay, so we have, your two. Okay, you have your hands up. Also, we have Mr. Nishi first, and then next one will be Dr. Hino.
3.3.
Mhm.
Discusses amended contracts with special education consultants, and there's a list of consultants here for the public's knowledge. Specifically, the question is what is the general estimate of the total cost that we had when it came to us first, and what is that estimate now?
I'm just only familiar with how there were some who were not included in the first round on June the 1st, but they are included the second time on this list.
So it's different bidders. But
Yes,
the total cost will be about the same?
yes.
Okay. 4.8. Actually, 4.9, I'm sorry. Discusses the bus charter contracts. There's a list of companies that have bid for contracts with us. And I see that's it's a consent item. So this is basically, we've done this before. Is this the same cost as last year, more or less?
Yes, the cost did go up by CPI, which is about 2%. But for the most part, it's comparable to last year.
And it's about 214,000 last year.
Correct. That
Okay.
is correct.
Thank you. That's all.
Thank you. Dr. Hino.
Thank you, Madam President. On consent item 4.4C, the gift report, I just wanted to thank the various entities for donating to our schools. And thank you for your generosity. That is all.
Thank you. Okay, then, no more, right? Oh, go ahead, Mr. Beach.
I just have a quick question on 4.1C, the claim by a Danielle Schultz. That's one of the schools in my trustee area, and I just wanted to see, was it unsubstantiated or what was the circumstances?
No, so she parked her vehicle on the parking lot and the canopy got flipped up by the wind and hit her vehicle. So the process is that, we asked the board to reject it. We turn it over to our claim administrator and they will work with the claimant to resolve the issue. And if it's found, which is in this case, if it's the district is at fault, then we'll just pay the claims,
Okay, thank you.
which is about $1,400.
Thank you.
Dr. Apodaca, do you have any questions?
No questions here, Madam President. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. So we'll be close to our consent calendar. So Daniel, would you please roll call for us, please?
Dr. Apodaca,
Yes.
Mr. Beach,
Yes.
Dr. Eugenio,
Yes.
Mr. Nishi,
Yes?
Dr. Rios, Mrs. Say,
Yes,
Mrs. Yu,
Yes.
motion passes 7-0.
thank you. Next one to Dr. Su. Can you please introduce our ABA Elementary School Principal, Laura Ballard, and Adult School Principal, Nancy Amar?
Thank you
Thank
so
you.
much, President Say. I'm absolutely delighted to introduce Laura Ballard, who's been with our district for many years. She previously was the coordinator of our Child Development Head Start Director beginning in 2017. She was also a secondary program specialist between 2014 through 2017. I'm absolutely delighted that she's also able to have graduated from Bachelor of Arts degree in literature from Loyola Marymount University in Los Angeles, as well as her Master's of Arts elementary education degree from also Loyola Marymount. We're just so delighted that she's able to be the new principal at Elliott Elementary School. She has also been an elementary coach from 2013 and 14, as well as a technology coach for Verizon Innovative Learning Schools grant from 2011 through 2013. So I would like to introduce our wonderful Laura Ballard, who is now the new principal at Elliott Elementary School. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Good evening, President Say, members of the board, Superintendent Dr. Sue and Cabinet. It is with much gratitude that I'm with you all here tonight. I'm filled with gratitude for the opportunity to serve as a principal of Elliott Elementary. It is an honor to become a part of such a wonderful community such as Elliott. ABC is part of me. I attended Nixon Academy as a second grader the first year it opened with the amazing second grade teacher, Mrs. James. My mom actually just recently found a picture of the two of us that will be proudly displayed at Elliott. I also led the Pledge of Allegiance as a sixth grade student body president at the Pat Nixon Park dedication in Cerritos. So I guess I just gave away my age too. These experiences as a young girl shaped me to know that I wanted to make a larger contribution to the ABC community as an adult. As Dr. Sue shared, I've been given many opportunities these past 24 years to contribute to our district, all of which have prepared me to become the next principal at Elliott. Another reason I'm filled with such gratitude this evening is because of my ABC colleagues, whom I've worked with over these past 24 years. I am sincerely appreciative of all your support and guidance. You all have helped me grow into the educational leader that I am today. To the staff members of Elliott, I'm extremely excited to be working with all of you as we continue your great work of helping our students, families, and each other grow and achieve. I also want to thank my family and friends. To my parents, Neil and Nancy, thank you for always instilling in me the importance of getting an education and modeling that helping others is one's greatest achievement. To my sister and brother, Lisa and Christopher, thank you for your patience and understanding through the years. You have both shaped the educator that I am today. And to my friends, who I am fortunate to consider family, thank you for our countless conversations about what we wanted our future as women to look like, and the fact that I can always count on all of you. Again, President Say, board members, Dr. Sue, and cabinet members, thank you for this amazing opportunity. I'm extremely grateful, and I will continue to work very hard to make all of you proud. Thank you.
Congratulations, Laura. Take care.
Thank you.
Next, I would like to introduce Nancy Amar, who's now the principal at our adult school. Nancy has been in our district since 2015, and she has been the assistant principal at our adult school. She also served as a teacher on special assignment from 2012 through 2015 in academic advisor. She also served as an adult school academic instructor in our adult school program from 2003 through 2012. She earned her degree from, from Concordia University, her master's degree in education and education administration, as well as her Bachelor of Arts degree in psychology at the University of California in Irvine. So congratulations, Nancy, for your outstanding work in adult school.
Thank you so much. Good evening, President Say, Vice President Yu, Clerk Nishi, Dr. Apodaca, Mr. Beach, Dr. Eugenio, Dr. Rios, and Dr. Sue. I want to express my gratitude and honor of being given the opportunity to lead ABC Adult School. Like many other adult school teachers, I began teaching one night a week in an English class at ABC Adult School. I had no intention of teaching adults, as I wanted to teach middle school English. I never expected to be so amazed by all that adult students can do. Adult students are dedicated, to say the least. Like, they often have full-time jobs and families to care for. The majority of adult students have had some adversity in life, and yet they all choose to attend school to better themselves. I have met countless students over the last 17 years, but one student stands out, Daniel. Daniel started attending ABC Adult School in 2008 to get his high school diploma. He would attend class every day for a while and then disappear for several weeks and then show up again. This happened year after year. Daniel told me he had done drugs in high school, and as a result, he struggled focusing and staying on task. In 2019, Daniel finally graduated with his high school diploma. With tears in my eyes, I was able to hand him his diploma cover and say, "Congratulations, Daniel, you did this." Now, most adult students do not take 11 years to complete their course of study, but some do, some have. And Daniel's story is not unique, and his struggles are similar to what other adult students face. I'm so proud to be able to be a part of our adult students' education at ABC Adult School. This past year, I was able to attend one of our ABC Adult School's online parent education class once a week with my then 3-year-old daughter. This was the first time I was actually able to partake in a class. I have always known that ABC Adult School filled a need in our community, but I was personally able to benefit from what ABC Adult School has to offer. And I have to say, I was amazed by the dedication of the teacher and the quality of the education. We have a saying in adult education that adult school is the best kept secret, and it truly is. I am grateful to have worked under Dr. Palingo's leadership, and I'm looking forward to representing ABC Adult School students, staff, and community. From the bottom of my heart, I sincerely thank the Board of Education, our superintendent, and the cabinet for your faith, confidence, and the opportunity to serve ABC Adult School and our community. Thank you so much.
Congratulations, Nancy. Take care.
Yeah, congratulations. Now moving on to the action items.
Madam President, if I may,
Yes.
I have a quick question. So where was this item on the agenda?
When is what?
The introduction of the principles. Was that an agenda item?
Yes.
Okay, because like, congratulations to the principal. This is just more procedural for me because I'm like looking through and I feel like at the beginning of the meeting, we approved the agenda, but then this item is not on my agenda.
This is not approving it.
Or if it is, that's what I'm asking for
It's
clarification. Where can I find
introducing
it?
it. Yeah, it actually should be undone and right down the spot introduction. Usually that I think we locate it over there. I guess accidentally it was put in this section. Should be very beginning at the beginning.
I think, Madam President, it's
Yes.
in our item 2.1C.
3.1C.
I believe that's where you usually approve these. Am I wrong?
I think that it was previously approved already.
Oh, so it's not in 3.2C.
Yes.
And the only reason I bring that up is because like I would have liked to have known that we were gonna have these introductions today so that I could have, kind of been prepared and maybe
Oh,
know a little bit. And a suggestion as well that when we do add items to, I know it's the discretion of the president to change the order, but to also just give us an updated agenda the day, so that when we approve the agenda, we know what is going to be discussed.
it is on the agenda for tonight.
Oh, well, that's what I was asking. Where can I
Yes.
find that?
It's under 22, page 22.
2.1C.
Yes, under 2.1.
Okay, so our agenda runs from page 1 through page 11, right?
Yes. But it's
So-
on the next page under,
Right, so what I'm just requesting is like, it would have been nice to know that this was going to be an item, like, I mean, if it's not reasonable, I understand, but I would have liked to have seen it as, the superintendent will be presenting the new principles today.
That would be great. We'll just move into correction in the future.
okay, thank
The
you.
prevention was, yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, Dr. O'Reilly, to recognize that, and Dr. Su, please make the note.
Okay.
Thank you. Anything else? Okay, then none, then we'll go down to action items. Okay. I need a motion, may I have a motion to approve the memorandum of understanding between the Board of Education and the ABC Federation of Teachers, local number 2317, California Federation of Teachers, American Federation of Teachers, AFL-CIO, amending Article 7, school calendar, and Article, what's the number now? What's that, 10, 28, right? Adult education, the adult education calendar for the 2021 to 22 school year. I have a motion and second.
Motion to approve, Eugenio.
Second.
Anyone wishing to make public comment on this agenda item, please use the raise your hand feature on Zoom at this time. Do we have any public comment?
We have one public comment, and again, this public comment would be about this agenda item. Okay, the hand is gone. Thank you.
Hands gone?
We have no
We don't have
public
any.
comments.
Thank you. Now back to our table to our board discussion. Do we have any question? If none,
I have a quick question.
so we will have
Okay.
you first and you go to the next, Mr. Beach. Okay?
So the last day of school is June 8th, correct? That means the graduation this 2022 will take place that week, first week of June. Most likely, huh?
Yes, either on the 8th or the 9th, depending on the school and the shared
Right,
facilities.
Facility. Okay, thank you.
Okay, go ahead, Mr. Beach.
And the school calendar doesn't mention hours, but I just wanted to confirm that school hours are going back to the same number of hours they were the year past last year.
That's correct.
Thank you.
Okay, anything else? If none, Daniel, can you do roll call for me, please?
Dr. Apodaca,
Yes.
Mr. Beach,
Yes.
Dr. Eugenio,
Yes.
Mr. Nishi,
Yes,
Dr. Rios, Mrs. Say,
Yes,
Mrs. Yu,
Yes,
motion passes 7-0.
thank you. Item 2.4-8. By motion to approve memorandum of understanding between the Board of Education and California School Employee Association and its ABC chapter number 24 regarding compensation for 2020 to 21 school year. Is it 20? Sorry. Anyone wishing to make a public comment on this agenda item, please use the raise your hand features on Zoom at this time. Do we have any public comments?
We do not.
Thank you. Now back to our board. Any discussion? Any question?
I think you need a motion and
Yeah.
a second.
Oh, I didn't make a motion. Oh, my God. May I have a
So
motion to
moved.
move the 2.4-8? Thank you. Vice President, Mr. Yu. I need a second. Since I already asked, we don't have any public comments, so we go down directly to the public. Do you have any, to our board? Any discussion to my colleague? If none,
just
Chris,
one
do you have any
comment that,
question? Oh, I'm sorry.
just-
Go ahead.
just so that the public understands that I have also done some additional research that this is in line with what other districts are doing
Mhm.
and not unusual.
That's true. Yeah.
That's
Apply
all.
to all districts, yeah. Okay, but none? Then your roll call, please, for me.
Dr. Apodaca,
Yes.
Mr. Beach,
Yes.
Dr. Eugenio,
No.
Mr. Nishi,
Yes,
Dr. Rios, Mrs. Say,
Yes,
Mrs. Yu,
yes,
motion passes 6-1.
thank you. Next one, 2.8-8. May I have a motion to approve memorandum of understanding between the Board of Education and California School Employee Association, its ABC chapter number 24 regarding vacation extension and retirement incentive for the 2020 to 21 school year. Thank you.
Second, Beach.
Thank you. Anyone wishing to make public comment on this agenda item, please use the raise your hand feature on the Zoom at this time. Do we have any public comment?
We have one public comment from Mr. Salcedo. Go ahead, Mr. Salcedo.
Hi, good evening. Can you hear me?
We can.
Thank you. As I had stated previously in an email to some of the staff members, I appreciate all the hard work that everyone has put into everything. But to the point on this particular agenda item, all three of these items, including the two previous things, are MOUs, which aren't technically legally binding documents that can be amended versus the next agenda item, which says an agreement. So I just want to know, are there changes that are going to be made and they'll be made publicly known? Or are the MOUs going to be the binding document that are going to be used to move forward as far as these three agenda items are concerned? Thank you.
Thank you. That's the only public comment.
Okay. Okay, now back to the board for any discussion. Do you have any questions on this action item 2.5-8? Vacation extension and retirement incentive.
Are we gonna have a report from staff regarding this? No? Basically, this is to encourage people to retire
Mhm.
and potentially save money that way. So this is what that's
Says
for.
right there, say vacation extension retirement.
Yep.
Fran, would you like to give a little bit explanation of this item so public
I
can hear
can,
that?
it's my item and I can
Okay,
do
go
that.
ahead, go
I was
ahead,
just
Dr.
waiting to be
Zillow.
called on if
Go
you
ahead,
needed
yeah,
me.
go ahead.
It was an extension of vacation days that were unable to be used, as well as then an incentive for retiring, bringing a savings to the district, and looking to do that with our units so that as we experience some decline, we can have the savings.
I remember we did it a couple years ago, back about 10 years ago. Okay, do you have any questions from my colleague here? If none, Danielle, please roll call.
Dr. Apodaca,
Yes.
Mr. Beach,
Yes.
Dr. Eugenio,
Yes.
Mr. Nishi,
Yes.
Dr. Rios, Mrs. Say,
Yes,
Mrs. Yu,
Yes.
motion passes 7-0.
thank you, Danielle. Next one is 2.6-8. May I have motion to approve the agreement between the Board of Education and the American Federation of State, County, and Municipal Employees, AFL-CIO Local 2229, regarding vacation extension and retirement incentive for the 2020 to 21 school year. Thank you.
Eugenio, second.
Anyone wishing to make a public comment on this agenda item, please use the raise your hand features on Zoom at this time. Do we have any public comments?
We do not, Madam President.
I assume this is the same as the other one. The extension and retirement, am I right? Dr. Zillow?
Yes, same with looking to do a savings with the retirement incentive.
Thank you. If none, so Daniel, would you please do roll call for me, please?
Dr. Apodaca,
Yes.
Mr. Beach,
Yes.
Dr. Eugenio,
Yes.
Mr. Nishi,
Yes.
Dr. Rios, Mrs. Say,
Yes.
Mrs. Yu,
Yes.
motion passes 7-0.
Next one, 2.7-8. May I have motion to approve the tentative agreement between the Board of Education and Management confidentially employees regarding compensation for the 2020 school year, 2020 to 21 school year.
Sue, second.
Anyone wishing to make a public comment on this agenda item, please use the raise your hand feature on the Zoom at this time. Do we have any public comments?
We do not, Madam President.
Thank you. Dr. Zillow, would you please?
Sure. So in working with all of our different employee groups, looking to provide something similar in terms of one time for that remote work in the fall, as well as one time for that return in the spring, and a way to handle the work that was done during spring break in getting ready for the reopening that happened the day we returned. And so we worked to set up for our management confidential, something very similar to what you saw we did with our classified units as well.
Do you have any question to my colleague here? We have Mr. Nishii. Anyone else?
So basically, this is to compensate for the time that they are working through the Easter break while everybody else is on a break. We have the management people trying to plan for us to come back. So thank you for that.
Okay. Hear none. Daniel, roll call please for me.
Dr. Apodaca,
Yes.
Mr. Beach,
Yes.
Dr. Eugenio,
No.
Mr. Nishi,
Yes?
Dr. Rios, Mrs. Say,
Yes,
Mrs. Yu,
Yes.
motion passes 6-1.
thank you. Next one, 2.8-8, may I have motion to approve the tentative agreement between the Board of Education and the management's confidential employee regarding duty year calendar of 2021 to 2022 school year.
Motion approved, Eugenio.
Second, Sue.
Anyone wishing to make a public comment on this agenda item, please use the raise your hand feature on Zoom at this time. Do you have any public comments?
We do not, Madam President.
Thank you, sir. Dr. Zillo.
So this is setting up the calendar so that our management and confidential employees know when to return to work based on the number of days they work in their calendar for the upcoming school year.
Do you have any question regarding this action item 2.8-8? Go ahead, Dr. Rios.
So based on the duty days, which are listed on page 131, we have our employees typically return on the 13th, and we work those duty calendars out with their supervisors. Sometimes for the high school, they will need to return a little sooner in order to run registration and things. And so we work on a positive work year calendar for most of our management employees, where number of duty days they work will be determined based on when they're needed at their sites. And so they'll work that out with each of their supervisors. But our other employees that are 12 months, they work year round. So it just helps them to know when things are happening in the school year.
Any other questions? Are we done? Thank you. Then your roll call for me, please.
Dr. Apodaca,
Yes.
Mr. Beach,
Yes.
Dr. Eugenio,
Yes.
Mr. Nishi,
Yes?
Dr. Rios, Mrs. Say,
Yes,
Mrs. Yu,
Yes.
motion passes 7-0.
thank you. Next one, 2.9-8. We have a motion to approve the tentative agreement between the Board of Education and the management confidential employees regarding retirement incentive for the 2020 to 21 school year.
Move to approve, Beach.
Eugenio second.
Thank you. Anyone wishing to make public comment on the agenda item, please use the raise your hand feature on Zoom at this time.
We do not have any public comments, Madam President.
Thank you. Dr. Zillo.
So again, with all of our other employee groups, we look to do a retirement incentive. We did that with our management confidential in order to gain a savings.
So now I'm going to open to my board colleague. First will be Clerk Nishi, and next one will be Dr. Rios.
Do we expect any retirements based upon this particular incentive plan for the management?
We have, I believe, 4.
Okay.
Anything else?
I'd have to go back. I
Thank
need to
you.
look at the list, but I believe we had 4.
Do you think
Dr.
it will
Rios?
actually get, so you think they would not have retired but for this incentive?
For the ones that retired, I believe it helped. Make
Encourage
it
them to
sooner.
retire.
Correct.
Okay.
Dr. Rios.
So this has been set forward to some employees so they were aware. And so those that could were able to take advantage of it.
Focus is in church then. Anyone else? No, okay. Danielle, please, roll call.
Dr. Apodaca,
Yes.
Mr. Beach,
Yes.
Dr. Eugenio,
Yes.
Mr. Nishi,
Yes,
Dr. Rios, Mrs. Say,
Yes.
Mrs. Yu,
Yes.
motion passes 7-0.
Dr. Apodaca, I'm sorry. If you have any questions, just go ahead and just say, I have a question, just yell it out. So that way I'll call you. Otherwise, I hate to keep bothering you. Okay?
Thank you, Madam President.
Okay, so we passed 2.9. Next one, 2.10-8. May I have a motion to approve contract and compensation for Dr. Mary Sue, Superintendent, Tuan Nguyen, Assistant Superintendent, Business Services, Chief Financial Officer, Dr. Valencia Mayfield, second, Assistant Superintendent, Academy Services, and Dr. Gina Zitlo, Assistant Superintendent, Human Resource, including extension of their contract through June 30, 2024.
So move.
Any second? Real second, yes? Okay. So I have this, do I need to report the whole thing out? Okay. Pursuant to Government Code Section 5495-3, Subdivision C3, as the president, I am providing this oral summary of the salary and the fringe benefit increase recommendation for the following administrators. For the position of superintendent, the term of the renewed employment contract between the district and the superintendent is from July 1st, 2021 to June 30, 2024. The salary to pay to the superintendent is $256,949 for the 2020 to 2021 school year, plus one-time payment of $500 for remote work in the fall of 2020, and one-time payment of $1,800 for report to work in person in the spring of 2021, in accordance with the one-time payment provided to the certificate and classified management employee of the district, and new doctorate stipend in the amount of $1,500. There are no additional changes in composition of fringe benefits. For the position of Assistant Superintendent, Business Services Chief Finance Officer, the term of the renewed employment contract between the district and Assistant Superintendent, Business Services Chief Financial Officer is from July 1st, 2021 to June 30, 2024. The salary to be paid to the Assistant Superintendent, Business Services Chief Financial Officer is $186.77 for the 2020 to 2021 school year, plus one-time payment of $500 for remote work in the fall of 2020, and a one-time payment of $1,800 for report to work in person in the spring of 2021, in accordance with the one-time payment provided to other certificate and classified management employee of the district, annual master's stipend in the amount of $1,000. There are no additional changes in composition of fringe benefits. For the position of Assistant Superintendent Human Resource, the term of a renewed employment contract between the district and Assistant Superintendent Human Resource is from July 1st, 2021 to June 30, 2024. The salary to be paid to the Assistant Superintendent Human Resource is $182,415 for the 2021 to 2020, for the 2020 to 2021 school year, plus one-time payment $500 for remote work in the fall of 2020, and one-time payment of $1,800 for report to work in person in the spring of 2021, in accordance with the one-time payment provided to other certificate and classified management employee of the district. Annual doctorate stipend in the month is $1,500. There are no additional changes in composition of fringe benefits. For the position of Assistant Superintendent Academic Service, the term of renewed employment contract between the district and Assistant Superintendent Academic Services is from July 1st, 2021 to June 30, 2024. The salary to pay to the Assistant Superintendent Academic Services is $182,415 for the 2020 to 2021 school year, plus a one-time payment $500 for remote work in the fall of 2020, and one-time payment of $1,800 for report to work in person in the spring of 2021, in accordance with the one-time payment provided to other certificate and the classified management employees of the district. Annual doctorate stipend in the amount of $1,500. There are no additional changes in compensation or future benefit. Mr. Yuan.
Thank you, Madam President. So this is the contract for your executive cabinet members for the four positions, the superintendent and the three assistant superintendents. And in the contract extending the year to June 30th, 2024, it's a 3-year term contract. And in that, these members receive the one-time compensation identical to the other management group, which is the $500 for the remote work in the fall and the $1,800 for the in-person work in the spring.
Now I'm going to move to the public. Do we have any public comments?
We don't have any public comments.
Okay. Any discussion from my colleague here? We have first, Dr. Eugenio, second, Mr. Beach, third, Dr. Rios, fourth will be Clerk Ishii. Go ahead, Dr. Eugenio.
Thank you, Madam President. The one-time cost of $10,950, how did you come to that figure? I'm not quite understanding that.
Yeah, so there's 4 members here.
Mhm.
So that's $2,300 each. So you multiply that by 4, and then there's statutory benefits relating to that.
So 23 each member.
Yes, 2,300 multiplied by 4. Right. So that's 9,200, and then it's about 2,200, 22% in statutory benefits to that. So that
Statutory benefits?
that's come up to the 10,950 because we want to give the board the total cost, not just the salary, but the benefits with that. And that's consistent with all the other groups.
Thank you, Tuan.
You're welcome.
The next, Mr. Beach.
I just had a quick question, Tuan. I noticed the language here is a little bit different than the other management group in that it only had the $1,800 amount and not the $900 amount. Does that mean that the 4 cabinet members worked in person more than 6 hours a day in the spring?
Yes, the $900 for part-time employees who works 6 hours or less. The 4 members of the executive cabinet, we all full-time. So for full-time employees, it's $1,800.
Okay, thank you.
Dr. Rios.
My question is just more of a clarification. I know that the superintendent serves at the will of the board. I'm wondering why it is that this contract includes the superintendent and assistant superintendent.
Actually, we've actually done it this way for many years now. We've always included the superintendent as well as the assistant superintendents of the 3 divisions.
I understand that. I mean, there's a lot of things that were done a certain way that I'm just trying to, is this typical? Is that what other districts do, or anybody has?
It's very typical.
Okay. Next one is do you have any more?
No, that was
Dr.
it.
Rios?
Thank you.
Okay. No, Ernie first, Ernie next. Ms.
So-
Michi, then will be you. Yes.
I asked for the contract, but unfortunately I didn't get a chance to look at it. I hate to ask this, but it's a 3-year contract. If there is an issue short of the 3 years, what are the liquidated damages? And so I vaguely remember, and it's been a while, so it's a little outdated, that government code allows for 18 months of liquidated damages, which, I don't think that's ever going to happen, but that's only a year and a half.
Thank you for the questions. The government code actually limited the liquidated damage for the superintendent to 12 months. The 3 assistant superintendents will have 18 months, and that's also in the code. So the 18 months pertaining to the 3 assistant superintendent, and for the superintendent is 12 months.
So really, it's not a 3-year contract. It's a 1 year, a year and a half contract, kind of, right?
It is a 3-year contract with the liquidated damage with the termination clause of 18 months payout or
Right.
12 months. So however you want to look at it, yes, it is a 3-year contract technically. But
The maximum reach would be 12. And by the way, this is just not even thinking. I just have to think in terms of the public. So
but that is correct, yes.
please don't think of that like that. But I just want to know what the damage. So if year one, we said something bad happens, maybe something unavoidable happens, the maximum payout would be 12 months.
For the superintendent,
Right. Okay.
yes,
It's not, we wouldn't be paying for 3 years. We'd just be paying for 12 months.
correct.
Okay. Then that's good.
And 18 months for the assistant superintendent. So I want to make sure that,
That's by law.
okay, yes.
So-
Go ahead.
Thank you,
Ms.
Madam
Yu?
President. I just really want to applaud Dr. Zidlow for coming to all this agreement and finalizing it. I know all the hard work that you went through for the past, was it 6 months? Thank you. We have to give her. Yeah. Thank you very much. I mean, I know that during the pandemic, we did receive a lot of funding, CARES Act, and people, sometimes we don't have the accurate information. So I know that, everybody, feel like they deserve a piece of it. But I know, I do want to thank all the teachers and our ABCME, CSA, all of our union groups for, rolling up your sleeves and helping to adjust and help the students come back for the safety and protection, all that. It's really want to thank you for all your hard work. But really going through this whole year and a half of pandemic, so many rules and laws have changed, and it's still changing. Who knows what's going to happen? Future is so uncertain. No one can guarantee anything. But I know one thing for sure is the management and the cabinet, they had to work around the clock because they had to, for example, to receive the was it CARES Act coming, what is that called? ELOC, opening up. Like Dr. Valencia had to really stay up, many days to make that happen, to get the grant. I know Dr. Zillow had to have an agreement with the teachers to come back. If the teachers did not agree to come back, then we will not receive it. And we only have like a month, few weeks, and to meet all those deadlines. And really want to thank the cabinet for putting all that together. Thank you very much. And finally coming to the agreement. That was long and difficult work, but we did it. Thank you very much. Really. Thank you. That is it.
Thank you, Vice President. I just want to remind my colleague here, the annual doctor stipend in the amount of $1,500, it was agreed upon among us in here when we talk about the advanced education on the staff to encourage them. So that was agreed by through the board, 1,500, and 1,800 is same thing too on one-time payment. It was agreed by a board. I do want to say something. I want to thank you, Dr. Su. Put yourself with your staff together and for your salary compensation here. I do know in the past, one of our superintendent even requests more stipend on the health maintenance. We pay additional, I think 1,000 or 1,500, and Dr. Su did not take that. So I really want to thank you so much. Put yourself with your staff together.
Thank you,
with this,
President Tsai.
I really just want the public to know, since I am the board for 13 years in here, so I know in and out. I really sincerely appreciate that you came front and want to do with your staff together.
Thank
It seems like fairness to the staff, to us. And we also have such a big school district. That's why our salary will be a little different than other districts. I want the public to understand. You compare apple to apple. How many students, how many staff you oversee, and we are pretty much middle high, the medium a little higher total student attendance. So the salary paid for the administrators is a little different, vary from other class experience, also counted in. So Without further ado, do we have any public comments? Any public comment there? Dr. Smith? If none, then I'm going to close this discussion. And Daniel, please roll call for me, please.
Dr. Apodaca,
Yes.
Mr. Beach,
Yes.
Dr. Eugenio,
No.
Mr. Nishi,
Yes.
Dr. Rios,
Yes.
Mrs. Say,
Yes,
Mrs. Yu,
Yes,
motion passes 6-1.
thank you. Next one, we have to agenda item 3.22-8. May I have a motion to approve request to adopt the following advanced placement textbook titled AP Environmental Science for the AP course, 3rd edition, and Forensic Science of High School and Holt's Essential of Human Anatomy and Physiology, High School Education for the 2021 to 2022 school year.
So move, Nishi.
Okay, anyone wishing to make a public comment on this agenda item, please use raise your hand feature on the Zoom at this time. And do we have any public comment?
We do not, Madam President.
Thank you, sir. Any discussion from our board here? Any questions? Yes, Dr. Eugenio?
How are parents made aware that the texts are on public display? How are they communicated?
thank you for the question. I'll be responding for Dr. Mayfield this evening. This course, the AP Environmental Science is offered at Gar, Artesia, Cerritos High Schools. The change happened because of a change in the exam, and the College Board required a change in the textbook that we were using. Teachers are part of a selection committee, and then once we do a board adoption, we do a public viewing. And so there was a public viewing that was put out. We put notices in newspapers from May to June of this year.
Thank you, Dr. Zito.
Any questions? Any more?
I have a question.
Oh, that was a good question, Dr. Eugenio. Go ahead.
So-
Mr. Nishi.
Thank you to Dr. Valencia Mayfield for giving me these books well in advance. Usually I get them 3 days before and I have no time to read any stuff. I feel so guilty. Sometimes I can't vote because I haven't read it. This time I got a chance to read it. It made me want to go back to high school again. Some of these, and it's not, these are not political books. I've read through them. They're not saying this is the cause of this and that. They're just going plain fact. And they, even the basic thing of even recycling, they question everything. It's not like recycling is good. It says, what is recycling about? So I really like these books. Thank you for going through the work. I don't like it was required to pick these books, but if it was part of a selection process, you guys did a good job, and giving me the books in advance really helped me. So thank you.
Thank you to staff. Any other questions? If none, Daniel, can you roll call, please?
Dr. Apodaca,
Yes.
Mr. Beach,
Yes.
Dr. Eugenio,
Yes.
Mr. Nishi,
Yes.
Dr. Rios, Mrs. Say,
Yes.
Mrs. Yu,
Yes,
motion passes 7-0.
Next one, 3.23-8, may I have a motion to approve request to adopt the textbook titled Ballet Basic 5th edition for the Dance 1 course and offer at Whitney High School for the 2021 to 2022 school year.
Motion, Nishi.
Thank you.
Second, Beach.
Thank you. Anyone wishing to make public comment on an agenda item, please use raise your hand features on the Zoom at this time. Do we have any public comments?
We do not, Madam President.
Okay, do we have any questions in here from my colleague here? If none, Daniel, roll call for me, please.
Dr. Apodaca,
Yes.
Mr. Beach,
Yes.
Dr. Eugenio,
Yes.
Mr. Nishi,
Yes.
Dr. Rios, Mrs. Say,
Yes,
Mrs. Yu,
yes,
motion passes 7-0.
there's a motion to approve request to contract with the Ingenuity Inc. Corporation to provide Ingenuity courseware and online program for grades 7 to 12 and professional learning for the 2021 to 22 school year.
Motion to approve, Eugenio.
Second, Beach.
Thank you. Anyone wishing to make public comment on this agenda item, please use the raise your hand feature on the Zoom at this time. Do we have any public comment?
We do not, Madam President.
Thank you. Back to our board here. Any questions, any concern? Yes, Dr. Eugenio?
Can you briefly describe the on-demand chat with the teachers? How does that work?
So that would be a feature where you, as I understand it, would be able to have times when kids could log in through the system and you could help them in the system. Part of the reason this system was attractive to be used for some of our alternative programs is because you can, as a teacher, add features of someone virtually presenting the lesson. And so you can add some pieces to help the students as they're working through either credit recovery or a course that they need that maybe in an alternative program, we don't have enough kids for a whole class.
Thank you, Dr. Zito.
Any other? Go ahead, Ms. Nishii.
Yes, so in your informal RFP process, how did you consider, what were the criteria that you utilized in selecting the winning bids?
So as I understand it, they actually had a long list of criteria. And let me grab that real quick so I can tell you what they are exactly. But in that process, really, we were looking to find a system that's different than what is offered at the other comprehensive high schools, because our students in an alternative program have already tried what we have in our comprehensive high schools. And so that was part of the process.
There were 4 different bidders that.
Correct. And they had a
submitted.
list and I'm trying to find it. I apologize. I didn't print that out today. I apologize. But they had a set of criteria they were looking for in terms of, I believe it was
Yeah.
ease
I'm sorry,
of use.
I can help.
Thank you.
It's accessibility, ability to customize, and on-demand support.
Thank you.
Those-
Sorry.
Plus the differential in instructions.
And this is not the lowest bid necessarily, or is it the actual lowest bid?
I think it was very comparable and it was providing the best need for the students.
Perfect, thank you. I'm glad we don't just go with the lowest bid.
Anyone else? No? Thank you. Danielle, roll call for me, please.
Dr. Apodaca,
Yes.
Mr. Beach,
Yes.
Dr. Eugenio,
Yes.
Mr. Nishi,
Yes,
Dr. Rios, Mrs. Say,
Yes.
Mrs. Yu.
Yes.
Motion passes 7-0.
Okay, next one, our next item will be 4.10-8. I have a motion to authorize contracting with Bank of the West for banking services.
Move to approve. Beach.
Eugenio, second.
Okay, Mr. Dorn.
Thank you. We have banking services with Wells Fargo for more than 10 years. Recently, there were some concerns about services. We went out for an RFP. We issued an RFP and interview and look at 4 different banks, including Wells Fargo. And the recommendations for tonight is for the board to authorize us to contract with Bank of the West for our banking services. The savings, the monthly fees is about $916, which is a decrease from currently about $1,500. So we save about $600 a month. So that's good news. And the services are comparable. So we happy with the Bank of the West, and for our meetings with them and conversations with them, they seems to focus on customer service. So we would like to recommend Bank of the West.
Thank you, Mr. Lewis. Anyone wishing to make a public comment on this agenda item, please use your raise your hand feature on the Zoom at this time. Do we have any public comment?
We do not, Madam President.
Thank you, sir. Any question from my board colleague here? I have Mr. Beach. Anyone else? Okay, go ahead, Mr. Beach.
Tuan, I really appreciate this report, and I'm hoping that you can thank your staff member, Ms. Aurora. I like that she compared 4 different banks very clearly so we can see it. It's not often we get savings, but it's a savings of about $7,500 a year, and we're earning 0.10 more credit rate, which I think is excellent. So I'm very happy to approve this. Thank you.
Thank you too. That was really appreciated. The staff working so hard to give us numbers out. So anyone else? Do we have any? If none, then your roll call for me, please.
Dr. Apodaca,
Yes.
Mr. Beach,
Yes.
Dr. Eugenio,
Yes.
Mr. Nishi,
Yes.
Dr. Rios, Mrs. Say,
Yes.
Mrs. Yu,
Yes.
motion passes 7-0.
Next one is agenda 4.1, 4.11-8. I have a motion to approve the renewal agreement for legal services with the Tao Rossini from July 1st, 2021 through June 30, 2024.
Motion to approve, Eugenio.
I'll second. Beach.
Thank you. Mr. Nguyen.
Thank you. So this is a renewal of contract for legal services with Tal Rossini. As you are aware, we do have a contract with AALRR. They are our general counsel for all legal services. Terry Tao and Hewley were part of AALRR, and they have been working with us for almost 20 years, Mr. Tao, on the issues, and they all have different specializations, right? These two gentlemen specialize in facilities and business contracts. So they have decided to branch out and have their own firm. So we are very happy with their service. So we would like to continue with them. So that is the recommendation. We do not do a formal bid on this because one is the specialized services. We're not required to. As a good practice, we usually do. But this is not for new services. But this is not a new service. This is a an ongoing services, and we have used them for many years. We're happy with their expertise and their skills. So the only question is how is the rates compared to other firms? And we did do a comparison, and it's comparable. It is within the range of what usually you see for legal counsel. So the recommendation is to renew the agreement for legal services only for relating to facilities and business contracts. All the other needs like personnel or any other issues, we still use our main general counsel, which is AALRR. So this is a second. We wouldn't have to do this if they were still with AALRR. It's the same people forming the different firm, or have formed, not forming.
Thank you, Mr. Nguyen, for the update. Anyone wishing to make public comment on this agenda item, please use the raise your hand features on the Zoom at this time. Do we have any public comment?
We do not, Madam President.
Thank you. Do we have any question for my colleague here? If none, Daniel, please do a roll call for me.
Dr. Apodaca,
Yes.
Mr. Beach,
Yes.
Dr. Eugenio,
Yes.
Mr. Nishi,
Yes.
Dr. Rios, Mrs. Say,
Yes?
Mrs. Yu,
Yes.
motion passes 7-0.
Wow, we are on the information item now. It's 8:35. I thought the clock was wrong, but okay, so this is a quarterly Williams settlement compliant report for April to June 2021. Dr. Su?
Thank you very much, President Say. This is our fourth quarterly report for the Williams lawsuit settlement. There were no complaints regarding instructional materials, facilities, or any teacher vacancy and or misassignments.
Thank you. So we're almost the end. I'm going to board member report. Do you have any? I have Dr. Eugenio. Vice President is with you, and then Mr. Nishi and Mr. Beach. Okay, go ahead, Dr. Eugenio.
Thank you, Madam President. Over the course of our break, I was able to reflect on how identity politics have affected the performance of not only our Olympic and professional athletes, but also the performance of our students academically across the nation. While numerous American teachers have become obsessed with the politics of race and gender, students' achievement in reading, math, and science have become mediocre. While students in China rated best in the world with a combined score of 1,731, US students ranked 26 in the world with a combined score of 1,489, according to the World Population Review. Many teachers don't seem to care that America's greatest adversary is outstripping the United States in education. Meddling in domestic politics, which has nothing to do with our children's education, can be seen, for example, during negotiations between LAUSD and United Teachers of Los Angeles, where defunding the police was one of several informal conditions UTLA claimed the school district would have to meet before its members would agree to resume in-school instruction. The union wasn't asking for better wages, benefits, or working conditions. Instead, it prioritized radical political agenda of its leaders above the legitimate workplace concerns of its members and was willing to hold the parents hostage until it got what it wanted. Not satisfied with making demands on domestic political policy, the teachers' union now wish to determine foreign policy. The United Educators of San Francisco, UESF, have adopted an anti-Israel boycott, divestment, and sanction policy within a broader, quote, resolution in solidarity with the Palestinian people. Now, in classrooms across America, students are being subjected to the curriculum critical race theory. Instead of helping young people discover that America is the greatest, most tolerant, and most generous nation in history, it teaches them that America is systemically evil and that hearts of our people are full of hatred and malice. Far from advancing the dream of Reverend Dr. Martin Luther King Jr., that our children should not be judged by the color of their skin, but by the content of their character. The new critical race theory preaches that judging people by the color of their skin is actually a good idea, and that the only remedy to past discrimination is present discrimination, and the only remedy to present discrimination is future discrimination. Our district parents have a right to know exactly what is being taught to their children. Last year, many parents had a chance to routinely listen in on classes for the first time because of remote learning. As students return to the classroom, we should require that all lesson plans be made available to parents. Every handout, article, and reading should be posted on an online portal that allows parents to see what their kids are being taught. Furthermore, in many places, there are rules preventing students from recording what teachers say in class. Our school board should establish a right to record. I want to see every one of our students in this district flourish and become successful adults. Our students are falling behind the world educationally, and I believe it's because the over-involvement in identity politics, domestic politics, and foreign policy. We must concentrate our energies and return to educating our children and eliminate the divisive politics, propaganda, and indoctrination in our students' curriculum. I'd like to finish up with a quote from former President Barack Obama. In the face of impossible odds, people who love this country can change it. May God bless our district, and may God bless you all and keep you well. Thank you, Madam President.
Thank you, Dr. Eugenio. Next one will be Vice President Review.
Thank you, President Say. On July 23rd, I attended the summer high school where Mr. Brown, Mr. Walker, and the Cerritos High School AP, James Beck, and Carolyn, they really prepared and put out a fantastic ceremony for these students who needed to make up the classes during the summer to actually achieve, receive the diploma. And it was, I was very thankful and very, very impressed that, the district really provided a ceremony for the family to really congratulate these students. I mean, I think the size was bigger than normal because of pandemic. Some students really struggled, they didn't pass. And so really, it was really neat to see. I was very, very honored to accept the class and really encourage them to, now that with the diploma, they can actually go and get a job. 1 million jobs are waiting for them. So that was so exciting. And one thing that I was really impressed with, there was one student who was a single dad. And I took a picture with the family, and the mom was just so grateful and thankful to our ABC district. So that was just very, very, it really touched my heart. I mean, I've seen a lot of single moms, but single dad, I said, I'm so proud of you. So proud of you. And I said, now that you're a dad, you're going to have to work harder. And lastly, again, I know that our management, management, they did put some sacrifice in just really trying to save with the grant CARES Act that came in. I know they put in so many more hours, especially like the principals. I know that they had to build something up and then start all over. It's a lot, many hours. I know that when in times of crisis, the leaders have to really roll up their sleeves and try to adjust and make it happen for the rest of the school. And in order for the principals to do that, it's the district, the headquarters that have to come up with a new plan. And that's a lot of work, but considering the number of hours and the effort they put in, they did sacrifice to try to save the district some money. Really want to say thank you for that. And on that note, really hope that some of this CARES Act and ELOC grant can provide the academic support for our students, that it'll roll out, because when the school starts in a few weeks, the schools, we're going to be faced with a lot of learning gaps, one reason or the other. It's going to be very tough. And, we all need to work together, not pointing fingers, but really trying to find a solution for some of the struggling students. We need to use a grant to support them emotionally and just mentally and socially, because they've been stuck in their rooms during the pandemic. And I know many families, they really struggle. And I hope that our district will be able to stretch and go that extra mile to reach out to these students, and academically too. Students are going to come into a math class and you're going to have like 5 levels, students all in different levels because of the learning gap. And, we're going to have to really hustle, right? Really hustle to make this happen. So, it's a time. I want to applaud the principals, the teachers, and just be ready for this, coming school year, with all these changes happening with the Delta. Who knows where? We don't know. No one knows where the wind will blow, which direction. But I think we're in good hands. I think we're prepared. So I trust in our district, our staff, and our cabinet. So we've come this far. So hey, we can do this together. Okay. So God bless you all. Okay.
Thank you, Mr. Yu. Next one will be Mr. Nishii.
Thank you, Madam President. So I got to attend that high school graduation along with Suyu, and it was an inspirational speech, 1 million jobs. And, in that strong, hot heat. By the way, that graduation was pretty nice because everybody had shade. And all the other graduations didn't have as much shade, but these students worked, stuck it out. They didn't give up. They weren't always given the best resources. They didn't get everything, but they stuck it out. And when they come to get a job, they can say, I have a high school diploma and I stuck it out and I will succeed at all odds. So that was a great speech, Suyu. I thought I was very inspired by that. I know parents are considering COVID-19, the Delta variant, and they are concerned. And so I want to say thank you to Sahas for providing those vaccines. I went to their fundraiser and got to see the inspirational performances by the students and this brand new group. And basically they're saving lives. And I know that basically schools are safer than home. We just saw a statistic about that. But we can make it safer. And I understand that we will be talking about this at our next agenda regarding the online options, regarding the in-person options, and regarding the measures that we're going to take to make our schools as safe as they can be, even safer than they are right now. And with that, school includes PTA. And yes, PTA dads and kids and moms and everyone, grandparents. I've seen grandparents be part of PTA. You don't actually have to have a kid to be in PTA. So we need to inspire them to continue the work and reinvigorate parent groups. It's very important. PTA is unique in that. I'm not talking specifically, but in relation to general stuff. Need to report on CSBA, went to the legislative caucus regarding our recommendations. I'm not going to go through all of them, but quickly, pillar 1 is to strengthen local governance. 2 is to secure fair funding. 3 is to improve conditions of children. 4 is to ensure achievement for all. And this includes not just academic, but also social and emotional achievement, everything as a whole person, including cultural inclusiveness. We've sort of changed some of the words there. Equitable access to quality resources, including broadband, credentialing, offering many different multiple pathways, including CTE. So they're talking about we need to offer ways to incentivize these teachers to get training for the jobs that they have. It's not all going to be academic. It's also going to be jobs. I think we've talked about it many times before. A mechanic nowadays, a construction worker is not, they have to think, they have to have training. And if we can provide that and have high quality teachers, and that's the key, where we respect those teachers, that's going to be important, I think, for the future. So they talk about staff development, and that's part of the staff development, that they want all teachers to have alternate multiple pathways with additional pathways as well to enter into the teaching profession and simplify the process for credentialing qualified teachers and CTE teacher candidates. Finally, in relation to, I guess, some of the other issues, I got something from a student group called the State Seal of Civic Engagement, which encourages students to be involved. And I think that's actually a good thing for students to be involved, to be aware of their surroundings and to understand that. That's why there's going to be a scholarship that I've put out there. It's a small one, a Mark Sturdivant Scholarship for Justice. And this is basically about this camp in Los Angeles. And the coalition is very unique. It's not Japanese. It's everyone. It's Italians, Germans, and it enables us to really, and not just say rah, rah, but to critically look at our own country, which is the great thing about our country. We get to look at our country, look at it critically, and make a better country. And so this scholarship is to enable kids to make art that will touch our souls so that they can get civically engaged and make our world a better place. So they can write something that hopefully will affect the future of our country and ensure that unfair treatment doesn't occur. If you look at these things carefully and understand it, we will not do it to other people. We can grow together and be more unified, I think. And I think that's all part of education. And so that's why I'm involved in this, and hopefully other people can write their experiences and draw or create the art that will change our future. Thank you, Madam President. That is all.
Thank you, Mr. Xi. Next one will be Mr. B.
Thank you, Madam President. I thoroughly enjoyed attending the Cerritos Artesia Rotary Club meeting. It was my first experience with them, lively bunch, and I wanted to thank community member Lily Kuo for inviting me to that. I really look forward to 5 days of live instruction for my kids and all the kids in the district with regular hours. I want to assure the parents out there that we're doing everything we possibly can to keep our kids and your kids safe. And there really is no substitute for live instruction. I know some of you are considering independent study. It may be right for your family, but kids in the classroom tend to do better in taking tests, and all the surveys and studies show that. So please consider sending your kids back to live instruction. I know parents have a lot of questions, and I actually had somebody reach out to me on my Facebook Messenger page, which I found a little strange, for a way to contact me. And I asked them, did they have my board email address? And they said they tried to look for it and couldn't find it. So I'd like to ask our communication director to put my email address under my board bio so people can see it, and ask the other board members if they're agreeable to that, so people can find it easily and contact us. It may be somewhere on our public website, but it's not in the bio, which is where people go to look for us. So I prefer that for myself. And lastly, this Thursday night is National Night Out. The city of Cerritos is hosting an event at Heritage Park at 7 p.m. It's a concert. They have different food trucks there usually. It's a great night of music and community. All ABC parents are welcome. So I look forward to that this Thursday night at 7. Thank you.
Thank you. I think we can consider it, put our email address should be, a lot of district board member do have the email address on that. They even have a phone number too. So maybe we can put it in that if we all agree with that. Please let us Scott know. Okay, how's that? And next one, Dr. Rios.
Thank you, Madam President. First thing, I did participate in a couple of events, the NSBA Equity Symposium, which is very interesting. And as always, they managed to get very inspiring speakers and thought-provoking participants. The other thing that I did was also participate in the Golden Bell Award ceremony, and congratulations to our winning schools. Next, I want to invite our board to participate. As you know, I'm a member of the California Latino School Boards Association, and they're putting together a series of webinars called Building Connections. And it's a learning series, and there are 3 that are coming up, and I will be happy to forward you the information. But I would especially like to invite you to one of the webinars that I will be moderating, which is called Dual Enrollment, Equity, and Affordability, and where we're going to have our local community college participate, and our very own Sergio Garcia will be sitting on that panel. So I invite all of you. That'll be Thursday, September 9th. And again, I will forward you the information. I'd also, I know I brought this up before about our district becoming a member of CLSBA so that we can participate in the variety of events that we will be offering. We do have a Unity conference coming up. The last thing that I wanted to discuss is, it was brought up today, and I hesitated because I feel like we need so much more information, but it's this whole idea of critical race theory. It has not been adopted by ABC, and honestly, I'm alarmed that the divisive rhetoric and misinformation that ruled our country finds its way to our boardroom. We're really hoping we were done with that. But what we have had discussions is regarding ethnic studies. And we've even hired an equity officer because we know that we have a long way when it comes to what we need to do for all of our students. And I hope there are conversations center on facts and that our board acts on what we know to be right and what's best for all students. We have issues, and again, we need to move forward in addressing them by celebrating our differences and focusing on student achievement for all. That's it. Thank you, Madam President.
Dr. Rio, can you send the invite to all of us, especially the one you're going to monitor that day? We'll be glad to go. Okay. We'll be glad to attend. Thank you so much. No further ado, we'll go down to announcements. That our next regular board meeting will be due on Tuesday, August 7th at 7 p.m. at our district office boardroom here. Do we have any second public comments?
We do, Madam President. So the first person to raise their hand is Sylvester Ani. Go ahead, Mr. Ani.
Hello, can you hear me?
We can, thank you.
Good evening, board. Happy to have y'all back. Excited to get to work this year. And hopefully everything being safe. We have all the students inside the classroom. And hopefully like that all goes to a great, it ends up being a great experience. So something that, again, I'm looking forward to working with other board members, other community members about is how we are going to continue to invest and build upon the great foundation that's been laid in terms of students' mental health, and continue investing in things begin investing in things like mental health days for students. It's obviously going to be a transition, getting the kids back into school and getting back into that mode. So that's something that we have to, balance and account for. They've been in isolation for a long time. So we definitely want to just, be aware of that. And I'm looking forward to different ways that we can start, not start, but continue improving upon how we've been supporting students in that area as well. Listening to, some of the comments tonight, I would love for the board to organize maybe like a community type of talking space where everybody can get together and we can all have conversations about things that we have questions about so that we can start breaking down, fact from fiction or, different fears about different subjects that, talk about our country and can be uncomfortable conversations, but are also necessary conversations. And then also, drawing the lines between, where and when do we have these type of conversations? How do we have these conversations with people in a constructive way that actually gets to a point where we can start healing, and, to get to that point, we have to also acknowledge things, in our history. I think nobody here on the board wants our kids to be indoctrinated by anything, right? So,
3 minutes.
Thank you. So included in that too is even if we, push that that America is the greatest this or that or whatever, if we're being all the way across the board, then we just present the facts of the matter and then we let the kids decide what they believe. We don't have to force anybody any type of way, but we just present information and then the kids do with it what they do. That's I think that's the job. That's what educators do. They don't tell kids how to think. They just present information and then the kids are able to decide with their own autonomy how to proceed forward with that information. So I'd love to see the board, host a community event where we, like, parents and teachers can sit together, maybe at a park, and ask these hard questions that a lot of times it's fear of the unknown. It's fear of something that's new. And people have questions, and that's okay. And I think that if we have conversations responsibly with each other and in good faith, I think that we can get somewhere where we can quell fears and then also acknowledge the history of where we've come from, where we've been, without blaming any specific person, and just acknowledging, like, hey, we're just, we're talking about the past, we're talking about how we got here, we're talking about how that shaped the outcome of here today, because it's not something that we can ignore. I think that, we'd be doing a disservice to parents, students, and all, by not doing that. So I'd love to see the board try to, organize a community talking space to kind of get these questions out where we can have dialogue between each other. And then I'll close with this, something that's always near and dear to my heart is what these students put into their body. So that's food. I'd love, to see potentially if we could, create some partnerships with organic farms, to get some more organic food into the schools. We just got out of COVID. We're dealing with this variant, but something that really hit this country was the underlying conditions that we weren't healthy to begin with. And I feel like if we invest in our children, we give them the best types of food, the most organic, non-processed types of food, not only does it help their physical health, but it also helps their mental health. And then it prepares them to be better students. And then within the classroom, be more attentive. So again, a lot of different things that we can work on. And I'm looking forward to, supporting the board and, working with the board on how we can continue improving the lives for students, teachers, and administrators all alike. Thank you.
All right, the next caller is Kira Chauhan. Mr. Chauhan, please unmute. You have 5 minutes.
Good evening, President Say, Dr. Su, board members. President Say, first, I'd like to thank you for restating that we all need to be flexible and supportive, especially in light of the variant. It is sad to say that we could predict that this was going to happen. It was avoidable, but here we are. The variants will exist and we will somehow muddle our way through this year while still supporting our students. Second, I want to mention something about AB 104 that I think the board needs to take quick action and the district really needs to get the information. AB 104 addresses key retaining students, but the second part is more important, which is about the grades. That as it applies to the school year 2020-2021, parents and students have the right to have their grades changed from letter grades to pass or no pass. There is a limited amount of time, and that information needs to be shared with the parents. There are some ramifications of doing so, but it is the parent and the student's choice. It is their prerogative that we absolutely need to meet. So please, can you do something to get the information out there quicker before you close the window saying it's 15 days and after that you will be able to shut the window down without them being adequately notified or knowing what the process was. Again, the issue of pass, no pass. The other two issues that I'm glad to hear is Murali addressing PTAs. Yes, it's one of those things. It's an art in how we engage parents. When school and the parents engage together, the students are successful. Third, CRT, critical race theory. I have had conversations with different parents. There's a lot of misunderstanding about this issue. People think that it perpetuates a certain stigma, which we can talk about. It doesn't. In fact, most teachers like me, when we would take an argument, we would absolutely say whatever was opposite to get the students to think quite opposite from whatever was a norm. So don't ever think that teachers are deliberately trying to guide students. If we take a certain stance, it's a counter argument to get students to think, because they pick up, unfortunately, information that may or may not be accurate. So let's have a deep conversation about CRT. Let's have a town hall or a study session, if you will. Again, it's very important that we address it because the community is fractured around it. They're only hearing one side and the argument is being perpetuated as non-factual. Lastly, since we talked about a lot of agreements with the bargaining units, I would like that whatever percentage agreement that you came with each one of those bargaining units, that you do the same for our students. So why should a group of adults benefit? They did the work, yes, so did our students. So therefore, I am asking you, the board, you have proposed pay raises for all kinds of staff. You've even addressed the superintendent and the assistant superintendent. So therefore, I ask that you give $200,000 to each one of the schools. Why? Because it's just a round number. It's the stipend. It's the same amount for every school. And it wouldn't kill the bank. $200,000 is 20 students attending every year. I think you can do it. And I want that money not for the school programs, and I don't want it for textbook. I want you to give that money discretionally to the principals to ensure that they do things that are supportive, collaborative, and meet the need, the emotional needs of our students. You know something?
1 minute.
Some content we can get. It's the empathy that we need from the teachers and the students. We need to build that bridge of safety and nurturing, because that is really the driver. It's not the content. You can go to YouTube, you can go to Khan Academy, you can get that content. It's a teacher who makes it possible for them to believe that they can succeed. And it talks about, especially what one board member was talking about, the need of certain trades, even the curriculum that we teach. It's about believing. If you believe that you can do science, you will take science. But if you don't believe it, you will give up on it. So what can we do to empower our schools to meet our students emotionally? Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Chauhan. We have one more here. It is a phone number ending in 984. If you can please state your name for the record.
*6.
I
Hi,
see
Scott.
your-
Can you hear me now?
We can, yes.
Okay. Good evening, President Say, Superintendent, and board members. This is Letty Mendoza, former board member, and also a teacher for LA Unified, and also a member of UTLA. And I'm a little disappointed to hear the board member who represents my trustee area to comment about my union and its bargaining agreements. I'm kind of disappointed that he kind of focused on certain areas, but he forgot to mention that UTLA did so much during this pandemic to really advocate for teachers, for student safety. We're one of the unions that has weekly COVID testing for staff and for our students to make sure they're safe, to make sure there's accountability for, making sure that our students, aren't coming to school and getting sick. He failed to mention that part of the agreement. And I'm a little disappointed also that, he's not giving the whole picture. And I think as a board member, if you're going to comment on other school districts and other bargaining units, I think you should know everything that's going on at that school district and with those bargaining units. I think we need to focus more on what's going on in our school district and building relationships with our own bargaining units. I'm also a little bit disappointed to hear that parents don't have access to curriculum. And I think that's a false statement, because I know as a parent, I have access to my son's curriculum. I can look it up. I know that I have access to handouts. I know that teachers use different platforms like Seesaw, like Class Dojo, and they upload a lot of that, especially during the pandemic. They uploaded all of the handouts so that parents had access to them. I think that's a very false statement. He needs to go back and review and maybe talk to some of the teachers to find out what they're doing in the classrooms. And I'm also a little bit disappointed to hear about lesson plans, because I think lesson plans look different in every single classroom and every single grade level for every single subject. I think if parents really want to know what's going on in the classroom, the best thing to do is to communicate with the teacher, to communicate with the school. But to blanket say teachers have to give their lesson plans over to parents, I think that's going to be, you're going to start having some kind of like all teachers have to have the same lesson plan format. And that's just not reasonable. It's not a reality. Teachers lesson plan very differently. My lesson plans look very different from a high school classroom, from even a 6th grade classroom. So I think our board member needs to go back and educate himself, maybe talk to our bargaining unit, see maybe if he can go into some classrooms and do some visitations. And also parents do have access to the classrooms.
3 minutes.
By law, parents can go in and observe classrooms. They just have to let the schools know and plan it ahead of time. So again, I was very disappointed to hear that from my own board members. Have a great evening. Thank you, Scott.
Thank you very much. The next public comment will be from Carrie A. Saucedo. Go ahead and unmute.
Hello, good evening, board members. My name is Karina Saucedo, and I just wanted to make a comment about the virtual option this year, the independent study. Just comparing it to some districts in the area, I know that it's been said multiple times that what is being done is similar to districts in the area, but that is not my experience. Downey Unified School District, that's just a few miles away, is offering 4.5 hours for its elementary school aged children, which is just leaps and bounds more than what is being offered by ABC right now. I myself have a 1st grader and a 4th grader. For example, for the 1st grader, as you all know, there's 30 minutes of instruction time that would be synchronous for a 6-year-old child. And in observing them in the classroom for the last year or year and a half at this point, honestly, I don't really know how you would get further than taking roll call in 30 minutes with a bunch of 6-year-olds, right? I have a 4th grader who's 9 years old, and he's being offered 45 minutes twice a week, which is just very minimal. It's not supportive of the parents. It's not supportive of the children. LAUSD, which is a district that usually the surrounding districts follow what they are doing, they are offering their students 3 hours of synchronous time per day for elementary school age children. Unfortunately, I don't have statistics or numbers for you for the other grade levels, but I'm sure that's at your reach as well, or you may already be aware of what's being offered. So I am asking, of course, I agree that the best thing for the kids to do is to be in school, right? But unfortunately, this virus has been just destroying communities and just affecting different families in different ways. And there are some families that cannot go back at this point to in-person learning. So I ask that it be considered, take this into consideration, take different needs of different children, English learner children, dual language program children, and that the support be given. Because really right now, what is being offered, it's very lacking. It's 10% or
Mhm.
less of what most of the districts in the area are offering. I'm quite surprised by this, honestly. And so are a lot of the other parents that I have talked to. So I hope you will take this into consideration. Otherwise, there may be, I don't know. I don't know what parents are going to be seeing, have to make different choices. But I don't think that offering, 30 minutes to 45 minutes twice a week is the answer for the kids.
So,
What happened?
sorry, Karina, we had a glitch here. You should be back. Ms. Salcedo, there you are.
Yes. Oh, I'm done. Thank you so much for your time.
All right, thank you. The next speaker is Mr. Salcedo.
Not to be confused with Salcedo SAU versus SAL. I wanted to just actually go into her point on the special session that you last had. You had an action item 1.03 on the agenda that there was a lot of confusion and back and forth of moving it from an action item to to an information item, information to an action item, and you finally agreed that it was an action item moving to an information item. And I believe it was Mr. Nishi that brought up the point that it would need to be implemented prior to this meeting. And it obviously has, because of all the informational meetings that have taken place with the parents and all the outreach that has been done. So I'm curious as to how it goes from an action item to an information item, yet it's been implemented with no formal board vote. So I would love for someone to let me know, or let the public know, how you approve that. Was it a private session? Was it just an agreed upon thing? I know you were waiting for the state to give us some direction, but how does it go from an information item to an action item, and it's been implemented already? So that's the first thing. And then the second thing is going back to my earlier comment about the MOUs. And if you look at page 120 on the agenda, it talks about the MOU that was previously signed January 29, 2021, that's now being amended. And I'm all for the union getting additional compensation, which they deserve in the first place, and maybe was only made available by the additional 35 million or so dollars that were provided to the district. However, it also states that it's a non-precedent setting addition to an MOU. So there's either binding agreements or there's MOUs that can be amended, and there's also a side letter that's attached to this. So I just want to state that I hope this isn't going to be the case with the teachers union and there's any sort of delays in everyone getting back until a side agreement and a letter. And again, I want all of the union and school district employees to get their due compensation, but at the same time, I want to see transparency with what the school board is negotiating, because I'm speaking for myself. Thank you, Mr. Nishi. If I was speaking for myself, if I was negotiating on the other side, I would use this as a tactic to say, look, you've already set the precedent, even though you wrote there's not a precedent, it's a precedent. So again, I don't know how it goes from a consent item or an informational item to an action item, but it's already been put in place. And then how an MOU can be amended with another MOU and a side letter. And I think it's due to the public, who, again, as I've stated before, you serve at the pleasure of the public, to inform us as to how this process takes place, even in closed door sessions. Eventually, we know that the contracts will become public, but we need to know how they're negotiated. And we are due that. And as I stated earlier as well, we appreciate all of the work that you've done to get us to this point, especially Dr. Mayfield, the superintendent, the entire school board. But transparency is key, especially as we go through all of these difficult times. And as we get back to school, we want to make sure that on August 23rd, we have all the information that is necessary to get our kids back. And we will support everything that the school does and everything that the school district does. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir. The next speaker is a phone number ending in 441. If you can state your name, unmute and state your name for the record.
Hello, board members. My name is Cerise. I am a community member and alumna of the district. I just wanted to say quick public comment about critical race theory. Every person is who they are because of their past and their experiences. And in that same way, America, how it is now and the way that it operates, the way that people are struggling, that is all a result of its history. And that was something that I didn't really truly learn until I went into college. But I think back, if I were to learn real history and something that allowed me to think differently and something that was more holistic and inclusive, maybe racism would decrease, maybe there would be more empathy throughout the student body. So I hope those are just some things that the board considers and thinks about whenever discussing critical race theory. Next, I would just like to second some previous sentiments about mental health days off and extended pass or no pass options for students. We're still very much in a pandemic, and I think these options are necessary and needed for students' well-being. Thank you.
Thank you very much. The next speaker is Esther. Go ahead. Go ahead and unmute.
Hello.
Yes, we can hear you.
Oh, hi, my name is Esther Kim. I'm a community member and parent of 3 children in the school district. And I just wanted to reiterate some of the thoughts that the previous parent had on the independent study on online learning program that you guys have. I also found it very lacking. And like others have said, we are still very much in a pandemic, and just to be offered such minimal instruction for our children on a online basis, it was really disappointing to see. I feel like, like the other districts are doing that. Our district, I think parents in general, just expect more from our district. I mean, ABC has a name, and there's expectation when you hear that ABC Unified School District title. So when that online program rolled out, it was just really disappointing, and kind of, it was disheartening to see, because as a parent of young children who cannot be vaccinated currently, we're left with very, the choices are really not there for us. We're not really left with many choices. And especially what the school district has, the choices that we've been given by our own school district, that we lean and look to protect us and have our back. I don't think a lot of parents are feeling that right now. So, like you guys said, we're still very much in it. I wish the school district could have done better for us in that regard. And also the other thing is, we're less than 3 weeks until the school year begins, and our kids will be sending our kids. And for myself, I've been kind of like looking out for all the emails and all the newsletters to see what the school year will look like for our kids, how it will be the same, how it will be different from before and after the pandemic. I don't think we've gotten a lot of that, and I try to listen to the board today to kind of get clues on what it may seem like or what it will be like. But I didn't get that as well. I didn't get that either. I know there's hospital grade filters and masks that are required by the county, but aside from that, how will the classrooms be different? The board today had the dividers between each member. Will our students have that? Will our children have that? For the most part in the elementary schools, children will not be vaccinated. So what precautions are being made? If you guys can, just communicate. I feel like there's a little bit of lack of communication between the schools and the district and the parents and the community. I do read every email that comes into my box, but I'm not on social media. So is it consistent? So if the board will take those into consideration and really just have an ear out for the parents and what the parent community has to say, were we really represented when this online program was rolled out? That's all. Thank you.
Thank you. That is the last public comment.
Okay, thank you so much. Okay, just wanted to let the public know, our staff has meeting with the other district, which is almost like 50 districts. They had meeting with them, especially our HR staff, HR superintendent assistant, Dr. Zillow has been meeting with those people. We are trying to, as we all kind of aware now, today CDC say wear a mask. Yesterday they said no mask. So the things have been constantly to change. We don't know exactly what is the pandemic is going to cause our children. I think one of the main things that we are focused on our children's safety and our staff safety. So I want the public to be patient. We don't want to just come out something and say, hey, this is what we're going to do. The next thing we're going to change again because CDC said, no, we don't want to do, you can't do that way. So staff are prepared right now. We are planning to give you 1 week to notice. But the other thing is our communication officer here, Mr. Smart, Mr. Smith. We're working with the social media and work with the local newspaper. So please keep yourself input and please, and we'll send a letter. We'll have a post on our website to let you know what we're trying to do. We're trying to come up with a good plan. And thank you for trusting our district. We sincerely appreciate that trusting in us. And we as a board here will do our best we can. We don't want to like a yo-yo keep changing our plan. So we are coming out of solid. The CDC and the government just stated some kind of more update information to us. We'll follow that. School will be open around the mid-August. So we're working towards that. Please be patient with us. And thank you for trusting ABC School District. Do we have anything per se for my colleague here? If none, I just want all the community member and the family and the staff, please work with us to prepare our reopening school in person. This is a perfect plan? None of it does know. As a healthcare provider, I'm telling you, I'm worried. We all worry here. So just be patient, okay, and keep wearing mask. If you have not vaccinated, I'm not pushing you, but I'm just saying that if you wanted to, there's so many places are giving for free shots. And we had our service already open to the public about, I believe it's 5 times. We'll have a God High, Cerritos High, and Atisha, the corner cover our entire district. And there was even a couple places where for children over 12 years old, and we do have a lot of participant came. So we were trying to work with the local vendor again. And if you need more further information, please contact our district for vaccine or other information. We'll be glad, and keep your eyes on our website and when more news coming out. And once again, thank you. Give us so great input to us. I know so many school districts have a different plan. LA district have their plans. They all staff and student need the testing. And what about other schools that need to? We see that we are communicate with all, and we're trying to set up a good plan for our district, for our culture here. Without further ado, I'm gonna ask motion, and second to move to adjourn for tonight's meeting. I want to thank you again to my colleague here. It wasn't that easy this year, and we all did the best we can and for our children and our staff safety. Thank you. May I have a motion and second to move adjourn tonight's meeting?
Second,
Thank you.
Ishii.
Okay. Danielle, can you do roll call since Dr. Apodaca is not current with us here? He's online, so we do have to do roll call.
Dr. Apodaca,
Yes.
Mr. Beach,
Yes.
Dr. Eugenio,
Yes.
Mr. Nishi,
Yes.
Dr. Rios, Mrs. Say,
Yes?
Mrs. Yu.
Yes.
Motion passes 7-0.
Okay, we can adjourn. See you next time.
Good night, everybody.